So before we begin to move, we'll take a moment for grounding. You can choose whatever position is most comfortable for you. Maybe sitting on the floor or sitting on a piece of furniture or laying on your back. Any position that allows you to relax and feel supported. Taking a moment to get yourself set up, choosing any props that you might need for that. And then take a moment to tune into every place where your body touches down on the ground or on some other support. At each one of those points of contact, let that support be both a support and an anchor, allowing the ground to push back up against you, but also to draw you downwards. Feeling yourself get a little bit more settled and a little bit more grounded with each passing moment. And if you'd like, you can close your eyes or let your gaze soften downwards, turning attention inwards. And take a moment to scan through the body and just notice how you're feeling. Notice any areas where you're feeling tension, tightness. Notice any areas where you're feeling ease and comfort. Just making note of those areas so that as we move through our practice, you can tune into how they feel. You can use your breath to release any of those areas of tension and tightness. And you can work to replicate those areas of ease and comfort throughout the body. And once you finished your first quick look, scanning through the body, we'll take a moment to take our awareness to our breathing. And not necessarily trying to change anything, just observing at first. Noticing where and how the body moves as you inhale and exhale. Noticing how you feel as you breathe in and out. And if you notice that your breathing is a bit shallow or short, maybe you're not drawing the air down deeply into the body, use your next inhale to take it maybe a little bit deeper. Imagine the breath traveling a path all the way down the length of the spine. So it comes in through the nose or maybe through the mouth, down the throat, and then continues downwards, filling up the lungs, letting the rib cage expand, filling the diaphragm down into the belly so the belly rises. And then as you exhale, the opposite happens. Belly softens, diaphragm moves back up, starting to push that air out of the body a little bit at a time, emptying out completely. And you don't necessarily have to overfill the lungs. It's more about the depth of the breath and finding a comfortable rhythm that you can sustain throughout the practice. Finding a slow, steady breath that allows you to fill up, feel that fresh energy and oxygen, and then allows you to soften, grounding, settling. Continuing to focus on your slow, steady breathing, we'll start to invite a little bit of movement back into the body by gently wiggling fingers and wiggling toes. If it's available in the position you're in, maybe circling wrists and circling ankles, turning your head from side to side. And then we'll bring it back to stillness. If you are laying on your back, slowly drawing your knees into your chest and rolling over onto one side of the body or the other, whichever you find more comfortable. Pausing on the side body for a moment, letting yourself connect with the new shape. And then when you're ready, we'll all meet up in a seated position. If you have been seated for the opening part of class and you want to switch the position of your legs, you can do that too, even if it's just to uncross and recross them. If you'd prefer to sit with your legs extended out in front of you, that's okay too. And we'll ground down equally through both sitting bones, allowing ourselves to sit up nice and tall, equally weighted on both sides of the body. And from here, let's start to warm up through the shoulders, lifting shoulders up towards the ears, and squeezing the shoulder blades together, drawing them down the back. Using the inhale to lift up, and exhale to squeeze and lower. Matching your movement with your breath. And noticing the feeling of the squeezing between the shoulder blades, maybe an openness through the chest. And notice if your breath has become shallower now that you're paying attention to something else. See if you can keep flowing with that deeper breath. Let's take those shoulders the other direction, still lifting up on the inhale. But now roll the shoulders forward, spread the shoulder blades nice and wide on the exhale. Focusing on creating some extra space between the shoulder blades. Noticing those shoulder blades moving along the back of the rib cage. Breathing into the back body as you inhale. And let's bring the shoulders back to stillness. And we'll take the left ear over towards the left shoulder. Soften the right shoulder down and then extend the right fingertips out onto the mat. Finding a gentle stretch along the right side of the neck. Taking just one or two slow deep breaths here. And then when you're ready, coming all the way back up to center, we'll go over to the other side. Dropping the right ear down towards the right shoulder, softening left shoulder down. And then maybe extending those left fingertips out. Again, taking one or two slow deep breaths here, softening that left shoulder down, lengthening up through the crown of the head. And then we'll come back up to center. From here, let's inhale, taking our hands up overhead. We'll interlace our fingers, turn our palms out, And then exhale, drawing the hands down in front of the body, releasing at the bottom. As we inhale, lifting those hands out to the sides and up, interlacing the fingers, and then exhaling to draw those hands down in front of the body. Flowing at your own pace. Using the inhale to lift up and lengthen. And exhale to draw those hands down, spreading the shoulder blades, feeling a stretch through the palms of the hands, insides of the fingers. If it's really uncomfortable for you to have your fingers interlaced like that, you can always inhale up. And then exhale, separate your hands, go back down up the sides. So both options available, maybe alternating between the two if you want to. A little bit more of a challenge, a little bit more of a mind game. And most of all, matching your movement with your breath. Letting the length of time it takes to lift your hands up be the same length of time it takes to inhale. And the length of time it takes to bring your hands down, the same length of time it takes to exhale. And the next time your hands come up, let's leave the right arm lifted and we'll drop the left hand down beside us on an exhale. Reach that right arm towards the left side of the room. We'll inhale, coming all the way back up through center. And exhale in the other direction, dropping right hand down and lifting left arm up and over. Using each inhale to take you back to center. And the exhale to take you over to one side or the other. Again, really taking your time here. Focusing on really lifting up as much as you're folding to the side. And if you can, keep your shoulders in the same plane of movement as your hips. So the tendency here is to let the shoulder with the lifted arm fall forward. So you can keep it drawing back so the shoulders are in line with the hips. Folding just to the side, no twisting. Let's do one more on either side. And the next time your left hand lands on the floor and right arm is extended, we'll pause there for a couple of breaths. Again, checking the alignment, making sure the shoulders are in the same sort of plane of movement as the hips. Use the inhale to lift up nice and tall, and then exhale, maybe fold. Keep anchoring through the right hip. You can either look down towards your left hand, out straight in front of you, or roll that right shoulder back to look up at the ceiling. With each inhale, lengthen, and with each exhale, fold. Good, let's inhale, coming back up through center. We'll go over to the other side, dropping the right hand down, extending the left arm up and over. And same thing here, anchoring down through left hip, lengthening all along the left side of the body. If you notice your left shoulder dropping forward, draw it back. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to fold. And notice if this side feels any different than the first side. Notice how you feel as you breathe in this shape. And then we'll release, coming all the way back up. Reach those hands up one more time. And then we'll exhale, drawing them down through heart center. And we'll pause for a moment here. Taking a couple of slow, deep inhales and exhales, lengthening up with each breath in and rooting down with each breath out. And tune into any sensation you feel through your shoulders, upper arms, lower arms, wrists, hands, maybe even the back, the chest, the side body. From here, we'll make our way into a tabletop, feeling free to pause for a sip of water if you need one along the way. And we'll meet up on our hands and our knees. Moving any props out of the way so you have some room to move. And stack the hands underneath of the shoulders. Spread the fingers out nice and wide so the tips of the fingers press down into the mat. Let the knees under the hips, about hip distance apart. And feet can either be flat on the floor or you can tuck your toes under for a little bit more stability. From here, we'll move through a few rounds of cat and cow. As we inhale, dropping the belly down, drawing shoulders back and looking forward. And as we exhale, rounding the spine, spreading the shoulders, dropping the head to look at the knees. Using your inhale to lengthen the front of your body, drawing the shoulders back and gazing ahead. And exhale to lengthen the back of the body, pressing the floor away, spreading those shoulders. And you can continue to flow through just cat and cow. Or if you wanted to add a child's pose into the mix, you could. We'd start by taking our knees a little bit wider, have the toes untucked. As we inhale, let's come into cow pose, draw the shoulders back and look forward. As we exhale, rounding the spine, and then sitting the hips back to the heels. As we inhale, drawing the body forward, elbows connect with the floor, chest leads, pressing up into cow. And then exhaling, rounding the spine, spreading the shoulders, sitting back onto the knees. Inhaling to move through to cow pose. And exhaling through cat to move to child's pose. And taking your time and working to match your movement with your breath. Make the amount of movement bigger or smaller depending on what works for you. And then from here, we'll settle back into a child's pose, taking the knees as wide as the mat, settling hips down onto heels. We'll extend the arms out in front of us, pausing for a moment here, allowing the hips to settle down, allowing the upper body to relax. You can have your arms extended or you can bend your elbows and rest your head on the back of your hand. Taking a moment to breathe into the back of the body. Notice the feeling of the rib cage along the back. Expanding as you inhale, softening as you exhale. Know that if at any time throughout the practice you need a rest, this is a good option to come to. You could also choose a simple seated position or shavasana if you need a break. If you find that your breathing is getting faster and you're not able to keep it under control, feel free to stop at any time, collect your breath, and then come back into the movement. And when you're ready, we'll come all the way back up into our tabletop, carefully planting the hands, pressing those fingers down, stacking the knees under the hips once again. We'll step our feet back, coming into a plank just for a moment before we shift our hips up and back into downward facing dog. Taking a moment here to press the floor away, again gripping down through all the fingertips and the thumbs. Press the hips up and back. You can walk through the feet, bending knees, bending ankles to start off with. Or you can stay in stillness with a bit of a bend in your knees so that the back can be nice and long and straight. You can really focus on pressing the floor away and lengthening the tailbone. And then when you're ready, we'll slowly walk those feet up to the top of the mat, coming into a forward fold. Taking your time and meeting up with feet about hip distance apart or a little bit closer. A pretty deep bend in the knees so that the belly can rest on the thighs. The head can hang heavy. Maybe nodding the head yes or shaking the head no. And let the arms hang at the sides or hold on to opposite elbows. We'll pause here, really checking in, noticing what you feel here. For me, this is a really intense stretch right now. I feel all up along the backs of my legs, through my low back, through my upper body, through my neck. So I'm really focusing on just breathing here. Drawing that air deep into the belly and then slowly releasing it. Let's release the hands down at the sides. As we inhale, we'll straighten out the legs, straighten out the spine so that the back is parallel with the ground. We'll support the body by placing the hands somewhere on the legs, either on the thighs or on the shins. And we'll inhale, lengthening the tailbone away from the crown of the head. Draw the shoulders down and back for a half back pose or Ardha Uttanasana. With our next exhale, let's bend our knees and we'll fold forward again, letting the head hang down, letting the arms hang down. And then as we inhale, we'll bend our knees even deeper, sweep our hands out to the sides and come all the way up to standing, letting the palms meet up overhead. And then drawing those hands down to heart center. We'll move through that a few more times, just to start to warm up. And then we'll start to add some more onto the movement. So from here, we'll inhale, reaching up. Exhale, bending the knees, we'll fold forward. Inhaling for half back, lengthening spine, lengthening legs. Exhale to fold. Then inhale, sweep the hands out, come all the way up. Letting the palms meet up overhead and drawing them down to heart center. Let's inhale, reaching up. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Inhaling for half back. Exhaling to fold. Let's inhale, sweep the hands out to the sides, come all the way up. And exhale, hands down to heart center. Again, inhale, reaching up. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Inhale, half back. Exhale, fold. And inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale, hands down to heart center. Really finding your own rhythm here. I won't talk this time. And one more like that, really working to match the movement to your breath. And we'll pause at the end, coming into a mountain pose. Allowing our feet, again, to be about hip distance apart. Toes can point straight forwards or they can point off to the sides. We'll stand up nice and tall, draw the shoulders up and down the back so the shoulder blades draw together and down. Extend the fingers out at the sides, spread the palms, spread the fingertips. Find a little bit of activity through the arms. Palms can either face towards the body or out towards the front. It's up to you. And as we inhale here, we'll lengthen up, reaching up through the crown of the head. And as we exhale, let's ground down equally through both feet, rooting down. It's a very active pose, even though you're standing in stillness. Each time you inhale, focus on lifting up, drawing lower belly in. And each time you exhale, press down through the feet. Make the legs a little bit more active, stretch through the fingers. Forming a strong, stable base here. Allowing us to lengthen up and grow taller. Okay, we'll start to move again. We'll add a little bit more this time. As we inhale, let's reach up. As we exhale, bending the knees and folding. Inhaling for half back. Let's exhale, bend the knees, fold, plant the hands, and we'll step the feet back, coming into downward facing dog. And let's pause for a moment here. Again, we'll bend through knees, bend through ankles. Still early in the practice. Press that floor away. Find a strong, stable dog. And with our next exhale, let's start to tiptoe the feet towards the front of the mat. And then as you start to inhale, move into half back. We'll exhale to fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Palms meet up overhead, and we'll exhale them down to heart center. Inhale, reaching up. Exhaling, bending the knees and folding. Inhaling for half back. Exhaling to fold, planting the hands and stepping back into downward facing dog. Let's inhale here, bending the knees. Exhale, walk the feet forward. Inhale for half back. Exhale to fold. And then inhale all the way up. Hands up overhead. Exhale down to heart center. Inhaling, reaching up. Exhaling, bending the knees and folding. Inhaling for half back. Exhaling to fold, planting the hands, stepping back, downward facing dog. Let's inhale here, bend the knees, look forward. Exhale, step, walk, or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale for half back. Exhale to fold. Inhale, making our way all the way up, reaching up overhead, and then exhaling, hands down to heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Inhale for half back. Exhale, fold, plant the hands, step back, downward facing dog. Inhaling here, bending the knees and looking forward. Exhaling, walk, step, or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale for half back. Exhale to fold. And inhale, come all the way up. Good, adding on again. Inhaling, reaching up. Exhaling, bending the knees and folding. Let's inhale for half back. Exhale to fold. Step the feet back into plank this time. Take a nice deep breath in here. Exhale back to downward facing dog. You can stay in downward dog or inhale forward for plank. Exhale back, down dog. Inhale forward for plank. Exhale back, down dog. This time as we inhale, bending the knees and looking forward. Exhaling, walk, step, or hop to the top of the mat. Forward fold. Inhale for half back. Exhale to fold. And inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands down to heart center. Good, inhaling, reaching up. Exhaling, bending the knees and folding. Inhaling for half back. Exhaling to fold, planting the hands, stepping back to plank. We'll inhale here, press the floor away. Exhale back to downward dog. Staying in down dog or inhaling forward for plank. Exhaling back, down dog. Inhaling for plank. Exhaling, down dog. Keep pressing the floor away the whole time, inhaling for plank. And exhaling, back down dog. So inhale here, bending the knees, looking forward. Exhaling, walk, hop or step to forward fold. Inhaling for half back. And exhaling to fold. So inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, hands down to heart center. Good, let's do that again at our own pace. Inhaling, reaching up. Exhaling to fold. Stop talking now. Remember, you can choose either downward dog or plank. Whenever you're finished meeting up in Tadasana, remember it's an active pose. Finding those points of focus. Connecting with your breath. Feeling the beating of your heart. Finding some length with each inhale and some grounding with each exhale. Let's take a moment to roll out through our wrists before we start to move again. And change it up a little bit. When you're ready. From our mountain pose, let's inhale, reaching up. Exhaling, we'll bend the knees and fold. Let's inhale for half back. Exhale to fold, plant the hands, step back to downward facing dog. You can stay here, or you can inhale forward to plank. And then exhale, start to shift your weight over into your left foot. Turn the outer edge of your left foot onto the floor. Turn the inner edge of your right foot down. Stack your shoulders, stack your hips, and reach your right hand up for side plank. Let's take it all the way back to center for plank, and then back to downward facing dog. Pausing for a moment. Catching your breath. And we'll do the same on the other side, moving forward into plank. Shifting your weight into your right side, tilting the outer edge of your right foot to the floor, inner edge of your left foot. Stack shoulders, stack hips, and then reach the left hand up for side plank on the other side. And let's take that hand back down to the mat, coming into plank, and then back to downward facing dog. Good, from here we'll inhale, bending the knees, looking forward. Exhale, walk, step, or hop to the top of the mat. Let's inhale for half back. Exhale to fold. Inhale, coming all the way up to standing. Palms meet up overhead. Now we'll exhale down to heart center. Remember, if you're not comfortable in your side plank, you can stay in a regular plank. And if you're not comfortable in plank at all, you can stay in downward dog, or feel free to rest in child's pose or any other position you like. When you're ready, inhaling, reaching up. Exhaling, bending the knees to fold. Let's inhale for half back. Exhale to fold, plant the hands, step back to downward facing dog. As you inhale, shifting forward into plank. And then exhaling over to the left side. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, back to plank. Let's inhale here. Exhale over to the right side. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, back to plank. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. From here, we'll inhale, bending the knees, looking forward. Exhale, walk, step, or hop to the top of the mat. Inhaling for half back. Exhaling to fold. Inhale, walking all the way back up to standing. And then exhaling to draw the hands down to the heart. Let's do that one more time. Inhaling, reaching up. Exhaling, bending the knees and folding. Inhaling for half back. Exhaling to full, planting the hands, stepping back to downward facing dog. Inhaling forward for plank. Exhaling over to the left side. Inhaling, reaching that right hand up. Exhaling back to plank. Inhaling here. Exhaling over to the other side. Inhaling, reaching left hand up. Exhaling back to plank. Deep breath in. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, looking forward. Exhale into forward fold. Inhale for half back. Exhale to fold. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. Hands meet up overhead. And we'll exhale down to heart center. Pausing again a moment here, taking some time to roll up through the wrists. Stretch the fingers wide, curl the fingers in. And then we'll come back to stillness. We're going to add a little bit more on again. Let's inhale, reaching up. Exhaling, bending the knees and folding. Let's inhale for half back. Exhale to fold, let's plant hands. We'll step just the right foot back. Setting up for a high crescent lunge. Pressing back through the right heel. Both sets of toes point forwards. The left knee stacks over left ankle. Let's start to take a little bit more weight back into the right foot. Get lighter on the fingertips. And then inhale, coming all the way up. Let's reach both hands up overhead. Feel the shoulder blades separate on the back. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Find some energy through the arms. From here, let's exhale, drawing hands down to heart center and twist towards the left. You can stay upright or you can hook your right elbow over your left knee. And then we'll inhale, coming all the way back up. Exhale, hands down to the ground. Step the left foot back to meet the right, downward facing dog. You can stay in down dog or inhale forward to plank. Exhale over to side plank on the left. Inhale, reach the right hand up. Exhale into plank. Inhale here. Exhale over to the right. Inhale, left hand up. Exhale into plank. Inhale here. Exhale for downward facing dog. Inhaling, bending the knees and looking forward. Exhaling back to the top of the mat. Inhaling for half back. Exhaling to fold. Inhaling, coming all the way up. And exhaling, hands down to heart center. Let's do the same on the other side. Inhaling, reaching up. Exhaling, bending the knees and folding. Inhaling for half back. Exhaling, planting the hands. This time we'll step just the left foot back. Again, keeping both sets of toes pointing forwards. Right knee stacks over right ankle. Get heavier through the left foot, lighter through both hands. We'll inhale, coming all the way up into our crescent lunge. Pressing back through the left heel, reaching up through the fingertips. Let's inhale here. As we exhale, let's draw our hands down to heart center. Take a nice deep breath in. And then exhale, twist to the right. Again, you can stay upright or you can hook your left elbow over your right knee. Let's inhale, reaching both hands up. Exhale, hands down to the floor. Step the right foot back, downward facing dog. Let's inhale forward for plank. Switch it up this time. Exhale over to the right. Inhale the left hand up. Exhale back to plank. Inhale here. Exhale over to the left. Inhale right hand up. Exhale back to plank. Inhale here. Exhale for downward facing dog. Inhale, bending the knees and looking forward. Exhale, work our way to the top of the mat. Inhaling for half back. Exhaling to fold. Inhale, coming all the way up. Palms meet up overhead. And we'll exhale down to heart center. Pausing here in mountain pose. Again, finding an active variation. Pressing down through both feet, lifting up nice and tall. Extending the fingers out. Lengthening as we inhale, rooting down as we exhale. Let's take a moment again to roll out through the wrists. We did a lot of work on the upper body, the shoulders, the arms that time. So our balancing pose is going to be a stretch for those areas. Possibly also for the hips if you want to add the legs in, it's up to you. So if you are not comfortable balancing and you need to come near a wall or a piece of furniture, you're welcome to do that. You can use them for support. This pose, actually, you could go with your back to the wall and slide down it as we move into it. It's a good option. I'll show you once we get started. We'll start off with the arms. So taking the left arm across the front of the body, we'll bring either the inside of the right hand or inside of the right elbow around that left elbow. We'll soften both shoulders down and then extend those left fingertips over towards the right side of the room. Trying to drop the left shoulder as low as the right. Keep drawing that left elbow in. And you can choose to stay here, or you can bind your arms in front of your body, bring your elbows back towards the midline and lining the backs of the forearms up so the backs of the hands touch, or maybe wrapping around so the palms touch. If you are taking the bind, keep dropping your shoulders down and maybe see if you can lift your elbows up a little bit higher. Move those arms away from the face. So this might be where you want to stay. If you're already feeling a pretty intense stretch here and this is what you want to focus on, you can. If you wanted to add the legs, we'll start to shift our weight over into our left foot. We'll bend through both knees just slightly. And then we'll lift the right foot up and cross the right knee over the left. So if you did want to use a wall for support, you could bring your back against the wall. Walk your feet out a little bit in front of you and then cross your right ankle over your left. You might have your right toes touching down on the floor. They might be hovering. Either option is fine. You can stay there, or if you wanted to challenge yourself a little bit more, you can start to sink down through the hips. Maybe cross that right foot around the back of the left calf. Keep sinking down, lifting shoulders, moving hands away from the body, coming into eagle pose, Karandasana. Breathing into the space between the shoulder blades. And with each exhale, rooting down into that standing foot. When you're ready, we'll step down. Inhale, release the arms and reach up. And then exhale, bring them down to heart center. It's fine grounding again through both sides of the body. Allow your breathing to settle, allow your weight to settle into both feet. When you're ready, bring your right arm across the front of your body and wrap either the inside of your left hand or inside of your left elbow around the right elbow. Let's relax the right shoulder down and reach those right fingertips towards the left side of the room. Checking in at the back of the right shoulder through the mid-back. If you already feel a stretch, you might want to stay here. If you're not feeling it just yet and you want to take it deeper, you can bind through the arms, bringing the elbows back to the center, and then placing the backs of the forearms together. Maybe the backs of the hands touch, or maybe the fronts of the hands touch the insides. If you do come into the bind, let the shoulders stay soft and start to lift the elbows, moving the hands away from the face, breathing into that space between the shoulder blades. You can stay here focusing on the arm and shoulder stretch, or you can make this into a balancing pose. If you are going to come into the balance, start to shift your weight over into your right foot, bringing a little bit of a bend to the right knee. Get lighter on the left side, and then when you're ready, cross the left side over the right. Again, here you might have your left toes resting down on the floor. They might hover somewhere out in the air. If you feel like you want to really focus on the stretch and not the balance, you can place your back against the wall and slide your back down. And you can stay right here, or again, if you want to challenge yourself a little bit more, you can start to sink down with the hips. Maybe wrap that left top of the foot around the back of the right calf. Keep lifting the elbows, sinking through the hips. Breathing slow and steady, letting your gaze be focused on something. That was my ankle. And then we'll release, stepping down, inhaling, reaching up. And exhaling, hands down to heart center. Okay, we'll make our way back to the top of our mat. When you're there, inhaling, reaching up. Exhaling, bending the knees and folding forward. Inhaling for half back. Exhaling to fold, pausing here for a moment. Letting your head hang heavy, letting your arms hang heavy. Maybe holding on to opposite elbows. Notice if you feel any difference between this position now and this position the first time we did it today. Taking a moment to scan through the body. Notice any sensation that you feel. And then when you're ready, releasing the hands down to the mat, we'll step back to downward facing dog for the last time today. And we'll pause here again, pressing the floor away, drawing the hips up and back, maybe drawing the heels down towards the floor. And notice this position compared to the first time you did it today. Taking a few slow, steady breaths, really focusing on pressing down through the fingertips, lifting the tailbone up and back. And then when you're ready, lowering your knees down onto the mat, about mat distance apart. Let the big toes come together and settle the hips back towards the heels. You can stay more upright with your elbows on the floor, or you can walk your arms out in front of you, bringing your forehead down. Another option would be to bend the elbows so that you stack your forearms and rest your head on the backs of your arms or on stacked fists. And we'll pause here, letting the hips settle down and back. Breathing into the back of the body. And then just as we did in the last two positions, scanning through the body and noticing how you feel now. Noticing how you felt the first time you were in this shape today. As you inhale, really fill up with air, let the rib cage expand. And as you exhale, ground down, let the hips be heavy. And from here, let's walk the hands back up towards the body. Draw the knees together and shift the hips off to one side, extending the feet out in front of us. Making sure you have enough room to lay back, coming up near the top of your mat. And then holding onto the backs of your legs and either rolling down or slowly coming down onto the mat. We'll draw the knees in towards the chest when we reach the floor. From here, let's take the arms out into a T shape so that hands are in line with the shoulders. Palms can face up or down, it's up to you. And we'll come into a brief twist, letting both knees come down on the left side of the mat so that we're twisting the upper body open to the right. might choose to look over towards your right fingertips. And we'll slowly breathe in, filling up the body here. And breathe out, finding softness. Let the knees get a little bit heavier. Let the right shoulder get a little bit heavier. And let's release that side, bringing the gaze back up to center. Take a nice deep breath in, and on the exhale, draw the knees all the way back up through center and then over to the right side. Again, letting both legs be heavy, letting the left shoulder be heavy, and maybe looking over towards the left fingertip. Breathing in to fill up and breathing out to soften. Let's take a nice deep breath in, and on the exhale, draw those knees all the way back up. And then place the feet down on the floor about mat distance apart and let the knees knock together so that the legs support one another. You can bring your arms in closer to your body if you want to. Draw the shoulders down the back. And you can stay here for a final resting pose. If you have any low back pain, this is a good choice. If you would prefer to come into a full Shavasana, you can walk your heels down to the top corners of your mat and let your toes rock open to the side. And if you would prefer a seated meditation, you can do that as well. Just like at the start of the class, choosing any position that feels really comfortable for you. Any position that allows you to feel supported and allows you to release any tension that you're holding on to. Finding a position that feels fairly effortless so that you're able to let go of any sense of holding on, any sense of doing, so that you have a few moments here just to be. Allowing yourself to settle into whatever supports you've chosen. As you inhale, feeling the body fill up with the air, getting a little bit lighter. And then as you exhale, letting that air out, connecting with the support beneath you, getting a little bit heavier. Alternating between those two, finding the top of the body, the front of the body, getting a little bit lighter each time you inhale. And the back of the body getting a little bit more grounded, a little bit more connected with each exhale. Allowing your eyes to be closed or slightly open with the gaze soft. Relaxing the jaw, letting the tongue fall away from the roof of the mouth, letting upper and lower teeth separate. And if you have been focusing on deepening your breath, even letting that go now, allowing your breath to return to its own natural rhythm. Taking a final moment of quiet in whatever shape you've chosen. And whenever you feel ready, start to bring a little bit of movement back into the body, maybe by wiggling fingers, wiggling toes. And if it's available, circling wrists and ankles. Maybe turning your head from side to side. And coming back to stillness, if you are laying on your back, drawing knees into your chest and rolling over onto whichever side of the body is more comfortable. Maybe using your lower arm as a pillow, and again, pausing for a moment just to allow yourself to absorb this new shape. And then in your own time, come up to whatever seated position you prefer. You might be sitting on the floor, or you might be sitting up on a piece of furniture. Maybe your legs are crossed, maybe they're extended out, maybe you're in a kneeling position. Whatever allows you to ground down and lengthen up, lifting up through the crown of the head. Let's bring our hands together at heart center. I'd like to take a moment to thank you for allowing me to guide you through this practice. I hope you all have a wonderful day. From my light to yours, namaste.